Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we are over here on the autumn season in Forza now, which means we get some new cars. As you can see, I've basically got most of the vehicles for this autumn season already knocked out. I did it this morning after I was done uploading what would be yesterday's video, because I record the night before usually, or before uploading. So I did manage to get the Porsche 718, which will be tomorrow's video. I'm gonna go ahead and take that out and play around with it some. But today we're gonna be getting in the 1966 Porsche 906 Carrera 6 and actually getting to drive it around a little bit more than just for the monthly rival event, which if you didn't do, you definitely should. It really helps you knock out these percentages to get the bonus cars out of it. And while I'm here, I was pretty stoked about this. I actually finally got 100% completion on a season for this summer season that we just finished up. Really excited when I did it. I got really lucky for the playground games, which I'm usually not very good at or get put in really bad teams. So since I haven't had a chance to actually look over the car for myself yet, I figured we'd take a quick look here in Forzavista. So I'll go ahead and pop everything off. You can see we have like an old school charge fire suppression system. I'm gonna assume that's probably a transmission cooler or possibly an oil cooler would be my guess. So as you can see, like most of the other race built Porsches of this era and even up in the 70s and even a little bit later, it's just really a skeleton of a car. There's not much to it there really, but it's very beautifully made. Jump inside, take a quick look here. I don't want to waste a lot of time in Forzavista on this car because it's really just about looking at the inside and out, or inner skeleton. I shouldn't say outside because outside it is a very different car, but the like inner structure of it is basically the same between a lot of the old race Porsches. There obviously are differences, but nothing super exciting. So let's go ahead and jump out here, take it for a quick test drive stock. We'll come back, check out the customization on it. So as you would kind of expect, especially if you've already actually taken this out for the rivals, very Porsche sound to it. There's nothing really exceptional about it. It doesn't really capture how nasty these old racing flat, let's see, was this a flat 6 or flat 12? I can't remember which it has in this car, but the old race versions sound way nastier in real life than they do here in Forza. And I'm not saying any of the flat variants actually sound bad here in the game. It's just they don't really capture how aggressive these cars really sound. If you like hop on YouTube and look up videos about this car, or okay, sorry about that. I had to jump back in there and take a quick look to remember what the name of that last Porsche race model we had back in summer was. I thought it was the 917, but I didn't want to be wrong, so I wanted to double check. But if you hop on YouTube, I can't remember the name of the channel. They did a video on the 917, and it's just, this guy still owns one, takes it out and races it on track days. And it is one of the nastiest sounding cars I have ever heard. Just, even under part throttle, it would be deafening to be by that car. Getting a little distracted talking there and just about let the car wash out. I really love the see-through rear cover that we have here. You can't, well, I guess you could still call that a window, but it's really more of an engine cover. You can just see those throttle bodies sticking, or would have been Weber carbs on this, I believe. I don't think this had individual throttle bodies at the time. I don't think that even in the 60s, Porsche would have been using mechanical fuel injection. I really don't think they were. It does sound very nice from the outside though. It's not insanely fast. Sorry if I started talking loud there. It got really loud in the tunnel and I forgot I was wearing headphones and talking at the same time. It sounds really nice in the tunnel, but it's just a little too high pitched. Definitely would be terrifying going these kind of speeds in a car this old for sure. I was gonna say, I highly doubt this has 6 gears, but I've been wrong a couple times on old race cars actually having 6 speeds that I expected to be 5, so may as well make sure, right? So as we can see there, nothing too spectacular really. It's a pretty quick car, especially for 1966. There's no doubt about that, but compared to a lot of modern cars, nothing special really. So let's go back here, we'll do some upgrades on it. I don't want to make this thing too insane, maybe just the top of A class, because I like the way the car feels. I really like vintage race cars a lot. Alright, since I have no idea what this thing can actually have done to it, we're going to jump in, check all the swaps out. Racing V12, okay, was not really expecting that. I could think of a lot of other Porsche engines that would have been a lot better for engine swaps than this. Twin turbo, it only adds 51 horsepower, which we're only talking about a 210 horsepower car here, so 50 horsepower is like a quarter of the original horsepower increase. You gotta remember too, this car's only 1,300 pounds, so 210 horsepower in that is actually quite a bit of power. Oh, we can actually get the Porsche canards instead of crappy Forza Aero? I'm amazed. I mean, they look kind of goofy on the car, but it's still cool we can get that because that was on some of the race cars. For rear aero, that's the options you give us playground games. We couldn't just get an additional lip on the lip that's already there for tuning downforce. You literally just stuck it further up the back of the car in front of the original wing. That's a big fail. So for wheels, I'm going to go with these old Halabrand Indies. They got a really nice look on old race cars like this. Really looks good on this Porsche. I think if I paint it black, it'd be a really sick combination. We will go up to 16s. I don't want to run any crazy big rims on this. Like, even looking at that, a 17 looks absolutely ridiculous on this car. Why? Why would you even give people that option? That's all I can really say. That is the worst thing I've ever seen done to an old vintage race car like this, I think. So let's speed through the rest of these here. Obviously, we're going to definitely want some tire upgrades. This thing's got 240s for the rear, which that's actually not terrible compared to a lot of the vintage race cars I drove here in Forza. Alright, so this car is not super heavy, so I don't really think I need race tires anyways. But we're going to go ahead and throw it on sports just so it leaves me a little room for engine upgrades too. And for transmission, I will just leave it at sport because the gearing seems pretty good for the original motor and the power band it runs in, so I don't really want to mess it up, but I would like the ability to adjust my final drive around for acceleration or for higher speed. Definitely just going to throw pretty much all the chassis upgrades at it probably. Oh, we're already on race suspension, so that saves me a little more PI. Kind of curious what this will even do. Okay, yeah. Not even 100 pounds. I was going to say, I wasn't going to do it anyways, but it cannot be that much. This car weighs nothing. Wait, are we caging an already caged car with another cage? Is that what's happening here? Because I swear... Oh wait, that might have been a dash bar. This might not have been caged. Yeah. It had the halo hoop over the windshield and a dash bar. It did not have a full cage. So yeah, this thing would be terrifying to drive at high speeds then. That top would literally flatten out probably if you rolled over in this thing. It has to have a safety hoop in its stock. There's no way the middle of the roof doesn't have one. There we go. So I ended up having to go ignition and was it valves? Yeah, valves to get it up to 800. Wasn't sure if I was actually going to be able to do it there for a second. I was trying just every combination of parts out I could, trying to get it to 800 exactly. Alright, so before we jump out here, I wanted to take a quick look at the car now that it's got the new wheels and paint all on it. Did drop the ride height down a little bit too, which didn't go too crazy as you can see. But I have to say, this is one beautiful car with this black paint on it. It accents it just perfectly. I just want to give you guys a good look at it while we are here in Forzavista, and you can actually get a nice up close on it. I was really stoked about how it looked with that black. I did jump in and do a little bit of tuning to the car. I didn't really go too crazy. So I did bring up the bump dampening and rebound dampening just a little bit, like literally like a point each, just to get the car to stiffen up a little bit. I added just a tiny bit to the spring rates. Besides that, I didn't really change a lot. I did play around with the accel and decel settings of the differential just to get me like a baseline, because it's not a really crazy high horsepower car, so I don't want a ton of lockup on acceleration. It'll kind of impact our turn in and well, not really our turn in, but our path coming out of corners. Sorry guys, a little jumbled right now. It's been a really long day. I actually found out I'm going to be having another baby today too, so a lot of stuff on my mind right now. But yeah, all I really did was stiffen everything up, and I just dropped tire pressures for a little bit more traction. Besides that, I basically left everything alone. It does feel pretty good, just feels a little bit tighter than it did before, and definitely can tell I got a little bit more traction. Very stable car though. I'm honestly kind of surprised with how light it is that it feels as planted as it does to the road. Jump up here and do the Horizon Festival sprint since we're already over here. Okay, this is going to be really interesting in the rain with this car. Not really what I was wanting for the first race in this thing, but we'll do our best. You can really see against that old Ford GT40 what power to weight ratio is all about. That thing easily has way more power than I do, but we weigh about I don't want to say a third, because I don't think it's quite that heavy, but he definitely probably does have almost double our weight. It's not a fun race to be in cars like this out here in the rain. I shouldn't say it's not fun, because it is pretty fun, just a whole lot of bumping going on during the race. Oh boy. The rear end went out real hard on me. Oh, whoo! These old school rear engine cars will really wash out on you if you're pushing it too hard, and this rain is making it pretty easy to do it. You can really feel the weight coming around in the wheel too as everything starts to transfer around. That's kind of what I was hoping to alleviate a little bit with the tuning I did do to the suspension, and it has helped quite a bit. This car pitched around pretty nasty stock, but it still will definitely snap around on you. So we are going to jump in here, do one more race over here at the Ambleside Sprint, and get a little redemption. Hopefully this race will be in the dry weather. It looks like we don't have rain in this, but the road is wet for sure. I'll still take that gladly over soaking wet road though. Definitely would take a little while driving a car like this to get used to that balance. It's sort of similar to driving a new Porsche overall in the feeling, but everything's just mushier and less responsive and more delayed. Just a really weird feeling to describe. Newer Porsches, even like the 70s Carrera, is a lot more predictable than this. At least with how much I've actually got to drive the car. Obviously, I don't have a lot of experience driving this here in Horizon, so I'm not really used to the way the car reacts to elevation changes or getting in the throttle at different times and different gears into a corner. So that definitely affects it, but for the most part I can hop in most of the Porsches in the game and drive them fairly easily without much issue right away. Whereas this thing would take a lot of time adapting to how it actually drives and how hard you can push it and the way the weight transfers around and the rear end comes around on you, because that's what's really getting me, is the rear end comes around in such an odd way compared to most of the newer Porsches that it's really taken me some time to get used to it. Oh boy. And the steering's very loose too. It's just a really awkward car to try to control in general. Having said all that though, all of that really makes the car fun to drive and interesting. It's not like all of the other newer Porsches I can just jump in, drive them fast, and not really have issues. It really tests your ability to control a car and adapt to a new vehicle driving something like this, which is what makes them a lot of fun. If you guys haven't had a chance to get this car yet, you definitely need to try to knock it out. It's just a blast to drive. It's nothing crazy. It's never going to be the fastest car, but that's not what it's in the game trying to be. It's literally just a piece of racing history. Like I said, tomorrow guys, we'll be jumping in another old vintage Porsche doing one of these videos. I have really high hopes for that car because the 718 had a really great balance in most of the other games I've tried it in. So hopefully I can fare a little bit better in the races then, be a little more rested up maybe too. If you guys enjoyed today's video though, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.